Hi, it's Mike with AskTractorMike.com. Topic of my video today is how big a tractor do I need to pull hay equipment? I've got a letter from Doug, and Doug's been looking to upgrade a 3910 Ford and get something newer and bigger that he can pull hay equipment with at a later date. Let's get to his letter here. It first says, is the quality of a utility tractor the same as a premium tractor, minus the bells and whistles? Or are they simply a lower quality machine? And is there a reason I'm not finding out much recent information about them? And then he goes on to say, I'm thinking of replacing my 3910 Ford with something big enough to pull a disc mower and a hay roller. Just want a good, dependable, problem-free basic tractor. When you start looking for information on tractors, you realize it's a compact tractor world. I want around a 70 horsepower utility tractor, maybe a Massey, Mahindra, Kubota, or Deere. All of them have dealers within 40 miles of me. Have you ever done a video about this class of tractor? Any help would be appreciated. Well, Doug, let's first start off with what's the smallest tractor you can bale hay with? You can technically bale hay with a bigger compact tractor. Square balers, smaller square balers, hay rakes, sickle mowers don't require that much horsepower. And there have been some manufacturers make really small round balers that are designed to be pulled by smaller tractors. There are two problems that I see with a compact tractor on hay equipment. Number one, if you're pulling a square baler, you're going to feel all that movement all day long, all the time. Every plunger stroke, you're going to feel that. And I did a video last week from another letter from Doug about the difference between compact and utility tractors. And one of the big differences is compact tractors weigh a lot less. So when you've got movement behind you, that's going to move the tractor back and forth. It's like being on a boat all day. If you've ever been on a boat all day and then you lay down to go to sleep at night, you're going to feel that bed moving. And it takes a while for that to wear out. And it also is more fatigue on you. So yeah, you can pull a square baler with the larger end of the compact tractors, but you're going to feel it. Another concern is if you're going up and down hills and the weight of that baler can push you. And if you're on wet grass baling late at night trying to get done, you can get out of control really fast. The second problem with a compact tractor on a hay baler or a cutter is if you've ever cut hay when it's thick and lush with a sickle mower, you know they clog up a lot. And the tendency is the first thing you want different in your hay operation is you want to go from a sickle mower to a disc mower, and they don't plug up. Problem with that is compact tractors are almost all too small to pull the disc mower. You have horsepower requirements, and most disc mowers take more horsepower than a compact tractor puts out. And then also there's the weight. When you pick one up behind a compact tractor with it being light, it could get a little bit scary. Now, there are some manufacturers that have made some small round balers that make a small bale weighing about 600 pounds. It can be pulled by a compact tractor, and those are fine. If that's as far as you want to go, you're fine with a sickle mower, you'll be fine with a compact tractor. But I think you probably would be a lot happier if you bump up to a utility tractor. And that gets us to Doug's question. He's realized that a lot of manufacturers have two grades of utility tractors. They have a premium utility tractor and they have a economy or a cheap. You're not supposed to say cheap when you're selling them, but that's what they are. They're a cheaper utility tractor. And he wants to know what the difference is between the premium and the economy. Well, there's a lot of differences. The problem is most dealers only stock the economy one because it's a price-driven world and people are buying that economy tractor when they get up into that utility tractor range. And they put extra options on some of the economy tractors like power shuttles and things like that, so you'll like them better, but they're still kind of a crude built tractor with older technology in them. And the premium tractor, the dealers don't stock because they don't move as fast. So Doug, that's why you're not seeing much information about those premium tractors. There's a huge difference in price. And if you parked them side by side, most customers would look at one that's X amount of dollars and another that's $8,000 or $10,000 more, and you'd buy the cheap one all day long and the premium one would sit. But there's options like better seats and better operator area, flatter deck. Hydraulic systems are usually better on the premium tractors. The transmissions are generally better. I mean, there are a lot of things better on the premium utility tractor that Doug is talking about. So that's why you're not finding information. They're slow movers for the dealer, and normally we don't see people buying them. So what are the people that are baling hay buying? And Doug, this is where I'm going with this video today and what I want to recommend to you. Most of the guys that bale hay have to cover a lot of ground to justify the high cost of the equipment. And they're in the tractor a lot. And so what they buy is first a cab tractor, a lot of times all decked out, and more horsepower than what we're talking about today. Not in the range of that utility tractor, up in the mid-range tractors, which run from about 65 to 100 horse. They buy a tractor in that range. Now, when I started in the business 30 years ago, a 70 horsepower tractor was enough to pull most round balers. Today, as the balers get heavier and more options on them, that horsepower requirement has generally gone up. And today, if you're seriously thinking about baling hay, I think you need 80 horsepower plus, and that's 80 PTO horsepower. Now, manufacturers advertise their horsepower as what's put out at the engine. At the back of the engine, if you dynoed it, that's how much it's put out. But there's parasitic loss between the engine and the PTO shaft. And PTO horsepower is a different number, it's a lower number, and that's what is required by hay equipment. So if you're thinking about buying a baler, what that PTO horsepower is what the tractor needs or more. So don't scrimp on horsepower when you're buying a round baler. So Doug, most of the tractors that you'll find that are pulling hay balers have cabs on them, get you out of the dust and hornets or things like that that can attack you on a hay tractor, and get you in cool. And where I'm at today, I'm recording this video early in the morning because the heat index today is going to be like 117. And if you work in an office all week and bale hay after hours and on weekends, it's hard to go from an air-conditioned office to this on an open station tractor. So most of the people buying tractors that put up a lot of hay are buying somewhere between a 65 and 100 horse tractor. Now, if you look in that horsepower range, generally, most of those tractors, as long as they've got the same engines, and there'll be 3 or 4 cylinder engines, will be on the same frame. They'll have about the same lift capacity, and there'll be a big variation in price from the bottom end. And a lot of times the bottom end will be naturally aspirated. You get up into the 75, it'll be turbo. Then the bigger ones on the top end will be turbocharged and aftercooled and all that stuff. And Doug, I'm going to tell you, don't scrimp on horsepower. If you're thinking about baling hay someday, get the biggest you can afford because you'll need it for pulling hay bales or hay balers. And remember, when the manufacturers rate how much horsepower is required for a round baler, they're talking about on flat ground. If you're like I am, and if you were putting up hay, you'd be going up and down hills with the air conditioner running in the tractor. And bear in mind, the air conditioner sucks about 8 to 10 horsepower out of the engine. You need every bit of horsepower that's recommended and probably a little bit more. So the long and the short of buying hay equipment, tractors, is get the biggest you can afford, because you'll never wish you had a smaller one when you're pulling equipment that requires a lot of PTO horsepower. Now, that's my opinion. If you have a different opinion, put it in the comments down below. But Doug, I think you ought to get a cab tractor, and you'll find out there's a lot of different options on these tractors, and most of them really make a lot of sense. A buddy seat is one option a lot of tractors have. Get that. If you ever carry people with you, your wife or a young person that you're training how to use a tractor, get the best transmission you can. Now, a lot of them have power shuttles, a lot of them have power shifts where you can shift on the go. That's really nice when you're baling hay. Get the best seat. If it's got an air ride seat option, because you're bouncing around in the field all day, you'll be a lot less fatigued at the end of the day with the air ride seat. And hydraulics and things like that. Go big and get the best you can afford and all the horsepower, and I think you'll be happy and have a tractor that you can own the rest of your life and never have to trade for something different. If you've got a different opinion, put it in the comments down below, because there's probably going to be some disagreement on this video, and I welcome opposing viewpoints. Thanks for watching.